Good evening and welcome. I will now call this meeting to order. This is a regular meeting of the Scarborough Town Council. Today is Wednesday, May 21st, 2005. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
You, Kristen, can you call the roll, please? Or Tody? Sorry.
No, that's okay. Counselor Doherty.
Here.
Counselor Donovan.
Present.
Counselor Anderson.
Here.
And Council Chair Seither.
Here.
Thank you.
Order number 25-050 is act on the request for an executive session pursuant to Title 36 of the MRSA 38412 for the purpose of deliberating one hardship poverty tax abatement case, case number 2025-001, and to come back to public session to take action on the above mentioned hardship poverty tax abatement case. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we will be back to regular session after our executive session. Excellent. Thank you, everyone. We are back from our executive session. At this time, I will move approval to grant an abatement request pursuant to Title 36 MRSA 3841-2 in the sum of $1,156.48 for tax years 2023 and 24 for the hardship poverty tax abatement case to, is this right?
It is.
Doesn't match.
And then
2025-001.
Yeah, it's a different tracking number, but that works. Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
Second.
Thank you. There's no council discussion necessarily. Okay, I will go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor? Show that as unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on in our agenda, item 4 is general public comment. If there is anyone in our audience tonight wishing to make comment on something that is not on our agenda, now would be the time to make general public comment. Do we have anyone online? No one online or in the room. I will close general public comment. Item 5 is the minutes from our May 7th, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Show that as unanimous. Thank you. Item 6 is adjustments to the agenda. I do not have any adjustments this evening. Item 7 is treasurer's warrants. I did sign them this time, and I have both of them. I left here criminal the other night and hadn't signed it. And item 8 is the town manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to update on a couple of construction projects that I think have been on my agenda for 6 months or so. The Black Point Road reconstruction project, I think I've briefed you on that. Will be ultimately reimbursed by FEMA. The town is undertaking the work. Haley Ward Engineers did the engineering. We awarded the contract to Shaw Brothers. Very pleased to do so because I saw pictures of the project area today. The road is completely paved, curbing's in place, guardrail scheduled for tomorrow. So they are weeks ahead of what was a very, very aggressive schedule we gave them. They've done a tremendous job. Angela Blanchette and her team have been part of the oversight and engineering. There have been some design changes that is not atypical for a construction project. And I believe they're meeting with FEMA representatives tomorrow to kind of bring them up to speed, but it's remarkable with the pace and the expertise that they really brought to that project. Very pleased. I'm certain the Proudsnet community will be overjoyed. At this point, I think Memorial Day is a realistic expectation for substantial completion, so very pleased with that. The Eastern Trail Close the Gap project, we did open bids April 24th. We had a couple of weeks of searching around for additional funding, working with our funding partners. DOT was able to provide additional resources. We were able to locate additional monies through a previous locally administered project, which this is one as well. And that gave me the ability and confidence to be able to sign the contract with none other than Shaw Brothers again. Again, very pleased given their capability and expertise and the partner that they have for the bridge component, which is a big piece of this project. At this point, we're kind of trading all the contracts and bonds and such. I'm not aware of the particulars, but I'm sure there'll be a pre-construction meeting shortly. And I expect construction will proceed fairly soon thereafter. I'd like to do some outreach. I do have a standing meeting with the media tomorrow morning with Drew Johnson. So we'll start to talk more openly about the particulars of the project with him. And I do want to reach back out to the private property owners that I've been working with and secured easements and other rights from, just to keep them apprised of what's going on and what the timeline is. So extremely pleased to be able to advance that project. It's going to be huge for Scarborough and I think the region. Sale of beach passes as of Monday this week, May 19th, we sold out of non-resident passes. That was a 350 limit the council placed. To the extent we can, the clerk's office will continue to track ongoing requests. They continued very briskly and will continue for some time. I suspect the word will get out and will tail off. Beyond that, we're still selling resident passes, of course. So, yeah, we'll see, and we'll certainly provide any feedback we get. I'm interested to know what the demand is, whether that is important, but I think it's a piece of data and a data point that the council might be interested in knowing about. So we'll do our best to track that. With respect to the school building project, and again, my involvement is really focused on the site selection piece. I've reported in the past that the committee had narrowed it down to 4 sites. We've done some initial environmental testing, particularly on vernal pools, because they have to be done this time of year. Pleased to report that for all 4 sites tested, there were no significant vernal pools noted, which is very good news. However, there have been some estimations, I'll call them, or speculation a bit, informed speculation by the design team in terms of soil condition on certain sites. Some of that is informed by publicly available information, which isn't terribly accurate, but it's an indicator. Also adjacent projects that we're aware of that just to get a sense of what the soils are going to be like. One of the lead sites, and this is a bit of a heartbreak, I think, to the committee, that we've been really interested in pursuing, appears at this early juncture to have poor soils. And what that translates into is additional cost. And the project is already at the top of the budget. So there's some consternation at the point of the committee in terms of where we go now. They were really trying hard to not let the site inform the solution. And they were hopeful that the survey would be more instructive than it was. So they really, I think, find themselves, and I'm interested in Councilors Donovan and Seither's opinion as well. I think they find themselves really not getting answers from outside and back to kind of working as a committee to come through this. But they remain committed. We were together for 4 hours the other night till after 10. But this whole site selection piece has really thrown them for a bit of a loop. And I'm increasingly anxious just because I know how much time and effort it takes once we identify a site to actually put together the terms of the deal. And all of that needs to be done through this body. So stay tuned. We'll certainly continue to work. I still have hopes of bringing a letter of intent on a preferred site for June 4th, but we'll see. The committee is taking next week off. Their normal meeting time is Memorial Day, so I don't expect much activity. I have been asked to kind of take a step back and look back at some of the other sites just to reconnect with those property owners to see where they're at. And I'm doing that right now, and I'll report those results back to the committee in the next couple of days. Short-term rentals, there was a public meeting last Thursday. To the best of our abilities, we identified folks that were kind of actively advertising short-term rentals over the last 6 months or so. I think 125 letters went out. Oh, so over 100 people were noticed at the meeting. It was also publicly noticed generally. We had about 60 people attend, kind of half in person, half online. Autumn did a terrific job of kind of briefing them. Many of them have been aware of this because it's been a conversation for a better part of a year. We did have good council participation as well. Councilor Fellows, Shoup, and Donovan were there. Thank you. Sorry. And so all of this was to inform kind of the next steps. And those are, to best of my understanding, Ordinance Committee, I think, intends to have this on their agenda for July. And we'll see where it goes from there. The Marshview project, this is the project that came up to you at your last meeting that you turned away, has resubmitted. They've made the planning department aware. I don't know if they've actually made application. I guess they have. So they've met the deadline, which means they'll be heard in June before planning board. This is for a modified scale down project. It's 50 unit, multi-story. These will be 1-bedroom, senior focused, and the target income range is 40 to 60% area median income. So these are folks that are, really need the support. Associated, though it's a smaller project, there'll still be a number of pieces that I need to kind of breathe some life back into. Those being potentially establishing a TIF district in the Dunston area. I do have a modified CEA request from them. So we're doing our best to work through the policy and the various committees, including Housing Alliance next week. And then I've had initial conversations with Counselor Anderson regarding finance in June. And at this point, it's very likely that we'll talk both establishment of the TIF district and perhaps the CEA request with the Housing Alliance recommendation. Just housekeeping, workshops looking forward, June 4th, we do have a housing workshop that was pushed a couple weeks out. And then June 18, I think we're looking at a goals check-in, just kind of mid-year, take a temperature where we're at. Beyond that, I have nothing else scheduled, so I kind of put that out as an opportunity for staff and certainly council. If there are things that are worthy of workshop, can start filling out the agenda through the summer and early fall. And lastly, just an update on election. It's incredibly slow, which is not uncommon for a June election. At this point, we've issued about 444 absentee ballots, of which 122 have been returned. So we shall see if it picks up, but election day is scheduled for June 10. With that, I'm available for questions.
Excellent. Questions for Tom?
Tom, can you repeat those numbers for you said 444?
444, 122 returned.
Yes, Counselor Donovan.
For the modifications to the senior project, it's eliminated one of them. And the senior affordable housing is the one that is in the new.
It's done two things. It's eliminated the workforce component entirely. So that was 36 units of 1, 2s, and 3 bedrooms. And reduced from what was 60 senior to 50 senior. So it's a smaller senior only.
So it will be senior affordable housing only.
Yes.
And to
Okay.
to
Two
clarify,
different proposals.
yeah,
It is.
you said 1 bedroom only? Is that?
Oh,
they are.
gentlemen, you don't have your mic on.
I believe the senior units are 1 bedroom. Yes.
Okay. Okay,
Okay, well, more to come.
yeah.
I should also note, unlike the last time where they were seeking contract zone approval, they're able to accomplish this without needing any relief of any sort. So this is coming straightforward by right, if you will.
Sure.
Working within the height and setbacks and density.
I have one follow-up. I'm just curious, it seems like this STR ordinance has,
Short-term rental.
short-term rental has gotten a lot of additional process, and I'm just curious from you and staff, like, when would you recommend we kind of take the approach that has been taken with kind of pulling together the community? Because I know there's other stuff on the ordinance docket that may also benefit from before it goes too far, try and get the community together to have a conversation, to get feedback, open it up for feedback to a certain date, and then go to ordinance.
Well, I think part of the strategy was there's been a lot of process with this. I don't know that I would recommend we need much more. We can certainly do more, but I can't think of something that's had more time, frankly.
Yeah.
We are open, and we made the attendees aware that we're open for feedback and comments until July 1. We'd like to close that down so we can take that into consideration, package it up for ordinance at their July 1.
Yeah.
For the July meeting.
Yeah, what I'm just thinking specifically of that Counselor Shoup had mentioned is the animal control ordinance, and knowing that there are people who have feedback, like, is the short-term rental approach something we may want to consider mirroring? It wouldn't fall on Autumn, but it would fall on Nick. But if it's a good way to engage the public before the ordinance committee has to act on it, that may be something to consider for that one as well.
I will say the Community Services Advisory Board is meeting again next week to, I'll say, finalize. In their mind, it's already done, but we've had changes of staff, and we wanted to make sure that what was coming forward to ordinance was in fact what they wanted. So it's a bit procedural, so there'll be another step there. I did talk to Counselor Shoup today, and I believe her intention would be to bring that forward on the June ordinance agenda.
Ron, Tom, sorry, just to that point, I just want to make sure that the Community Services Advisory meeting gets posted to the calendar because it's not currently on the calendar. That's all.
Yeah, they were finalizing the
Yep.
agenda.
Oh, no,
set
I'm
to
sure it's within our
We will.
normal.
What
Yep,
date are they
okay.
thinking about?
May 28th, I believe it's 7. I think it's going to be remote only, and that really is because we have no room at the end.
Yeah.
there's 3 meetings being held here that evening.
Great.
There's also going to be a direct outreach to folks that have been historically interested and involved in this matter. So as to make sure that they're aware that the meeting is being held and they can come and speak.
Okay, so you think that's kind of taking the place of having to do something?
We shall see. I think there's still a lot of interest and some angst around it. So I think the best thing to do, I know the committee is tired of it and wants to move it on, and it's been around almost a year with them. So I think it is time for it to come to the next level. Whether you want to send it kind of sideways into another path, that's another question.
At that point, I would say that would be ordinance's decision to add another public process.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Tom? Okay, great. Item 9 on our newly formatted agenda is standing and special committee reports and liaison reports. John, do you mind getting us started?
Sure.
Thank you.
So the Long Range Planning Committee met 2 weeks ago, I think, and it was really awesome because Autumn spent some time pulling up the comp plan action items and all the things that have been done. So it's great to see a lot of accomplishments that have happened since the comp plan has been in place. Most of the conversation, or like maybe the new action that the committee is considering exploring, that was really preempted by the Marshview conversation, was kind of relooking at the TVC3 district and just, Autumn, correct me if I misspeak, but more just to kind of reimagine what that could be, confirm that the zoning that's there is still the right zoning, or are there pinch points that we need to consider and consider making adjustments down the road. It wouldn't be a quick process, but I think it's just the start of the conversation, and Autumn has a great plan eventually to have all of these reviews of all of the different zones. So this might be something that gets prioritized, but would need probably a consultant at some point to come in. But again, at least the committee can start to have the conversation in the interim, but likely a 2027 budget request potentially in the CIP, I would think. Yep. Tom mentioned finance. So again, TIF adjustment and CEA request will be top of the agenda. We also will look at potentially the rest of the council goals in anticipation of our workshop to see if there's anything else we need to prioritize or focus on from a finance committee perspective. I think we're still waiting on a name of who's going to be named to the finance committee so that they can hopefully participate. And then and then
Always trying to steal my thunder.
for the library, I attended their meeting for last week. They are still looking to address the critical space needs that they have, and so they've kind of developed a multi-prong approach to think about how they want to address their space issues. So they're looking into the potential of adding an L container. So it's literally like a big shipping container, and potentially exploring whether putting something like that on the property would help with some of the space needs, specifically with the youth sections of the library. They're also considering looking into branch options. So maybe not just doing an expansion on the existing site, but potentially pursuing branch options. But none of these will take place though of the need to still do some sort of headquarters expansion in the future. So they're very much exploring. I would say they're in the exploratory phase, kind of considering different pathways to potentially address their space needs. Anything that they move forward with wouldn't be considered a substitute for the main expansion that is likely needed to happen down the road. But they do have real needs that need to get addressed with some space challenges. They are planning to launch a While We Wait campaign. So while they're waiting for the HQ, they want to make sure that they're fundraising money to help with some of these temporary space needs. So we might be seeing that more in the public later this year, where they're trying to fundraise to help with either these L containers or something else that they may want to do on their site. So that's all I have.
Thank you, John. Bill?
The SBAC's School Board Advisory Committee number 2 continues to meet every week, more or less. April and Tom attend with me. We are nearing the end of the process that will result in whatever outcomes that committee decides will get transferred over to the town council and to the school board for action that would then lead to a decision as to what would be put on the ballot for a referendum. So it's the type of expansions have been looked at, whether it's a consolidated school, whether it's neighborhood primary schools, looked at very carefully. We've now moved to the sites. That is a confidential process because of the nature of the relationships that people have. Some might not want to have their land be entertained or considered. Others would. And Tom is all over that, has been reporting to us regularly. But the site choices are down to a handful. It's a very small number of places at this point. Appointments committee, no real action to report. We have one resignation to be acted upon in June. Ordinance committee, really nothing to report, no, since we didn't meet. And I think that's it.
Great. Thank you very much, Bill. So as John alluded to, I have been filling in a lot of holes in the absence of our counselor resignation from Counselor Cushing. And so on Wednesday, the 28th at 1 o'clock, I will be attending the district emergency management team meeting in his place. On June 4th, we will hold the communications committee meeting at 4:30. And I will be filling in for Dawn as a placeholder on that committee as well. I have not committed to the finance committee meeting as of yet. I can discuss that with our available counselors and get back to you, Counselor Anderson, on who maybe can attend that meeting. And I'm not necessarily saying no. And then as far as other updates, school building committee has been covered. I will say, put a placeholder on your calendar. The school building advisory committee will be presenting to the school board on June 26th, which is a Thursday, as part of their regularly scheduled meeting. So 7 p.m. start, I assume, but I will get back to you on the start time. But just for now, pencil in June 26th to have a school building advisory committee update at the school board meeting. Beyond that, I think I'm all set. Scott? Okay, great.
Madam Chair.
Yes, sir.
One thing that is still outstanding from the last communications committee is
I
who's
have
gonna
that.
do the June 1st Counselor Corner, and I think we're lined up for,
I got you covered.
and so, or you're gonna do June
Yes,
1st?
so Bill and I are going to tag team with Charlie Peters, the chair of the School Building Advisory Committee, and have him help us kind of co-author something to give an update, if that works for the committee. Yeah? Okay, great. I did have that on my list. Thank you. Anything else? Nope. Okay. So we have a few minutes before 7 in terms of when our public hearings can begin, but we have some other business that we can take up before that. Not the least of which rather is Proclamation 25-003, act on the request to proclaim the month of May 2025 as Building Safety Month. Autumn, would you care to tee this up for me, please?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an annual recognition as of May as Building Safety Month, and I have been requested to take a picture. It gets us extra credit, and that's really all I have to offer.
Excellent, thank you. I will go ahead and read the proclamation, and then we will take action on it, and we will take your picture for you. So Proclamation 25-003 proclaiming May 2025 as Building Safety Month. Be it resolved by the Council of the Town of Scarborough, Maine, in Town Council assembled, that whereas our town of Scarborough is committed to recognizing that our growth and strength depend on the safety and essential role our homes, buildings, and infrastructure play, both in everyday life and when disasters strike, and whereas our confidence in the resilience of these buildings that make up our community is achieved through the devotion of vigilant guardians, building safety and fire prevention officials, architects, engineers, builders, tradespeople, design professionals, laborers, plumbers, and others in the construction industry who work year-round to ensure the safe construction of buildings. And whereas these guardians are dedicated members of the International Code Council, a nonprofit that brings together local, state, territorial, tribal, and federal officials who are experts in the built environment to create and implement the high-quality codes and standards to protect us in the buildings where we live, learn, work, and play. And whereas these modern building codes and standards include safeguards to protect the public from hazards such as hurricanes, snowstorms, tornadoes, wildland fires, floods, and earthquakes. And whereas Building Safety Month is sponsored by the International Code Council to remind the public about the critical role of our community's largely unknown protectors of public safety, our code officials, who assure us of safe, sustainable, and affordable buildings that are essential to our prosperity. And whereas Game On, the theme for Building Safety Month 2025, encourages all of us to get involved and raise awareness about building safety on a personal, local, and global scale. And whereas each year, in observance of Building Safety Month, people all over the world are asked to consider the commitment to improve building safety, resilience, and economic investment at home and in the community, and to acknowledge the essential services provided to all of us by local, state, tribal, territorial, and federal building safety and fire prevention departments in protecting lives and property. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Scarborough Town Council does hereby proclaim the month of May 2025 as Building Safety Month throughout the town of Scarborough, Maine, and we urge all citizens to join us as we participate in Building Safety Month activities. Signed and dated this 21st day of May, 2025, on behalf of the Town Council and the Town Manager of Scarborough, Maine. Do I have a motion?
I'll move.
Second?
All those in favor? And is there discussion? Sorry. Yes. Yes, please. Thank you, Councilor Doherty.
Yeah, that's a great idea. The one thing I bring up on this that comes to mind with me is Gorham passed an ordinance to have sprinkler systems. That's a standard. And I think it's just excessive ordinances. And that's the problem with, with code is good. And we have this to protect everybody. And I get the concept of it. You have to have it because you can have somebody that builds a shoddy house and then somebody gets stuck with it down the road and everything's a disaster. So I get the point in it, but I think you'll have a lot of people that would not agree with that. The wiring is so much better now, and houses burning is a lot less. Smoke detectors are really good, and they're, you got them in there for protection. I don't think it would save lives. It may stop the house from burning, but the problem is if it accidentally goes off, it's going to destroy the house with the water. So, I figured this would be the time to bring that up and get that ahead of the horse.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Other council comment or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? Show that is unanimous. Thank you. And now we will take pictures.
Do we have hard hats or anything? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
So at this point, we had provided public notice that these next items would be taken up at 7 PM. And so,
Can
oh,
we do Division Zero?
It's-
Angela?
do you feel like people are here? It's totally up to you, Angela. If we're a go,
I wasn't sure if committee members were gonna be here. Oh, good.
there is not, and we did hear from Jen Ladd, the chair.
Let's do it.
So, sure, if consensus is this is the time. Thank you, Angela. So let me go ahead and read the resolution title, which is Resolution 25-005, act on the request to approve Resolution 25-005 in support of the adoption of the Greater Portland Council of Government, GPCOG, Vision Zero Plan. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you. So I'm speaking on behalf of the Transportation Committee, who is making this request for the Vision Zero resolution that you have in your packet. Vision Zero is a national framework and strategies with the goal of achieving zero fatalities and significant injuries on our roadways. And in 2023, Greater Portland Council of Government actually established a plan, a Vision Zero plan for our region, which Scarborough is a part of. At this point now, it's getting in more into local and ingrained, and so we can start looking at strategies to use on our local Scarborough roads. And this was very important to the Transportation Committee that has been kind of following along since they started actually looking at the regional mission on that. So what you have in front of you is has been vetted through the Transportation Committee, and they are making that request.
Thank you very much. At this time, I'm going to ask Counselor Anderson to please read the resolution.
Great. So this is Resolution 25-005, a resolution of the Town of Scarborough to adopt the Greater Portland Council of Governments Regional Vision Zero Action Plan. Whereas the life and health of all persons living and traveling within the Town of Scarborough are our utmost priority, and no one should die or be seriously injured while traveling on our streets. And whereas Vision Zero is the concept that traffic deaths and serious injuries on our roadways are unacceptable. And whereas the Vision Zero is a holistic strategy aimed at eliminating all traffic fatalities and severe injuries suffered by all road users while increasing safe, healthy, equitable mobility for all. And whereas streets and transportation systems have traditionally been designed primarily to move cars efficiently, and Vision Zero supports a paradigm shift by designing streets and transportation systems to move all people safely, including people of all ages and abilities, pedestrians, bicyclists, public transit users, scooter riders, and motorcyclists, as well as drivers and passengers of motor vehicles. And whereas the provision of a more complete bicycle and pedestrian network increases transit accessibility and a reduction in vehicle trips. And whereas Vision Zero recognizes that people will sometimes make mistakes, so that the road system and related policy should be designed to ensure that those inevitable mistakes do not result in severe injuries or fatalities. Therefore, transportation planners and engineers and policymakers are expected to improve the roadway environment, policies, and other related systems to lessen the severity of crashes and improve post-crash care. And whereas, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, traffic crashes are among the leading cause of deaths in the United States. And whereas, according to the Greater Council of Government, in 2024, there were 24 deaths and 144 serious injuries due to traffic crashes across the Greater Portland region. And whereas since 2020, an average of 2 people each year in Scarborough has lost their lives to traffic crashes, and another 12 people on average are seriously injured each year. And whereas Scarborough's transportation infrastructure serves as an increasing number of vulnerable road users, such as pedestrians and bicyclists. And whereas the Institute of Transportation Engineers reports that speed is recognized as a major determining factor of survival in a crash. And whereas children, older adults, people of color, people with disabilities, people who are unhoused, and people with low income face a significantly disproportionate risk of traffic injuries and fatalities. And whereas making streets safer for all people using all modes of transportation will encourage people to travel on foot, by bicycle, and by public transit, which supports a healthier and more active lifestyle and reduces environmental pollution. And whereas successful Vision Zero programs result from strong community support, effective partnerships across public, private, and nonprofit sectors, and with school districts, and in alignment with related municipal ordinances, policies, and action plans. And whereas GPCOG has developed a Vision Zero plan aiming to eliminate all fatalities and serious injuries resulting from traffic crashes in the greater Portland region by 2045. And whereas the Portland Area Comprehensive Transportation System, which is the regional's federally designated metropolitan planning organization, and of which the town of Scarborough is a member, adopted the Regional Vision Zero plan in 2023. And whereas the town of Scarborough recognizes its obligation to work with the Maine Department of Transportation on roads under the state's jurisdiction, and whereas Scarborough intends to work with the Maine Department of Transportation towards safer roads and safer speeds in town, as Maine DOT sets speed limits on state and local roads, and as Maine DOT updates their speed limit policy. And whereas Scarborough has already adopted a complete streets policy in 2015, and whereas Scarborough is currently working on the complete streets and traffic calming guidance document, now therefore be it resolved by the Town Council of the Town of Scarborough, State of Maine, as follows. The Town of Scarborough adopts the GPCOG Vision Zero Action Plan attached hereto as Exhibit A and makes it part of this resolution effective immediately. The Scarborough Town Clerk shall certify the adoption of this resolution effective immediately by the Town Council. Future transportation infrastructure projects and relevant initiatives within public safety shall comply with this policy to prioritize safety on our roadways. The implementation schedule of the 2025 townwide transportation study shall be given preference based on this policy. Scarborough Town Council directs local governing bodies and town committees to consider this Vision Zero policy in their deliberations and discussions. Passed and adopted by the Town Council of Scarborough, State of Maine on May 21st, 2025. Signed and sealed the 21st day of May 2025 on behalf of the Scarborough Town Council and the Town Manager of Scarborough, Maine.
Well done. Thank you very much, John. With that, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Is there any council discussion? Yes, John, I can't believe you have more words.
Yes, more words. Oh God, here we go. No, this is part of our council goals this year. And again, I think since I've been on the council, one of the big things that we've heard from residents continues to be concerns about safety. So we did work last year to create the traffic calming policy that would take concerns about speeding and things like that happening within neighborhoods under the town's jurisdiction. And I think it's been a very popular thing that many people have continued to come forward with. You know, we got emails just last week, I think, by a family concerned with some transportation construction that's happening that, you know, I think did its best to consider safety because that was a high crash location. And so again, what this is just a commitment that for our town safety, as we think about transportation, is a top priority to make sure, which kind of sounds weird to say because it should be, right? Safety should be the top priority, not necessarily traffic movement, which this kind of shared was the traditional view of our transportation infrastructure, but making sure safety is top of mind where there are preventable deaths from occurring, I think is something that we should all strive to do. Again, it may not be perfect, but you know, making the commitment that this is something important to our community, that we want to adopt the Vision Zero plan and use that to guide policy decision making, I think is a really good thing to do. And I think our community would support it.
Thank you, John. Any other council discussion? Yeah, Scott, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. It's a great concept, but pedestrians don't have the right of way in the roadway. And if you're going down the road and there's a pedestrian walking in the road in the middle of the night in black clothes and you just barely miss them, and if you hit them, it's your fault, you know? And, you know, I just think that a lot of people think I'm a pedestrian, I have the right of way, and they just go. Big thing pedestrians have to remember that you have to make eye contact with the driver. There's a huge blind spot right here. And, you know, I going on Commercial Street a lot, coming out of the wharfs, and there's a lot of people going. You have to look and look, and it's in that blind spot. And if they're right up on top of you, you don't even see them. I start to go, and then they're right there in front of the truck. So those things do happen, but we have it here on Black Point Road. You know, I've said it before, by the old Easton, we took the left turn lane away. That's a very dangerous thing.
Mhm.
That left turn lane shouldn't have been taken away. It was maybe to protect the pedestrians, but on the other hand, at the same time, they put in the crossing, the flashing light. That's a great investment. That is huge. You see that from a long ways off. You know, there's a pedestrian crossing, you slow down, let them go. So those kinds of things are good. But up at the end of Sawyer Road, they, you know, it should be a left turn lane. We put in curbing and everything and blocked it off, I guess, as a safety thing, so people couldn't cut across to something. But I think that instead of the shrubbery and stuff and the granite curbing, it was already paved as a left turn lane, and same in front of the schools. It was paved as a left turn lane, and we should have just stuck with the left turn lane, because when you come up to there, you have to screech your brakes on. If somebody stops, it's always, you know, the third or fourth guy back. If somebody locks their brakes up completely for something in the road, the third or fourth, I don't care how much you're paying attention, you're gonna hit,
Mhm.
you know. And so these are just those kinds of things we have to address. And, you know, in the means of safety and saving a life, you know, I mean, you can outlaw all vehicles and nobody will die in a vehicle, you know. I mean, we're not gonna do it. I mean, there's a certain point where you can only do so much, and people have got to be responsible for themselves.
Agreed.
But, yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Other council discussion? Yes, Counselor Donovan, thank you.
Scarborough really needs to be active. This is a thing that municipal government, it can be really helpful for the community. There are a few things that break your heart more than a traffic accident that results in severe injury or death to a person in the middle of their life. Transportation is changing. I just read yesterday or today by a major car manufacturer that they expect 1 million self-driving cars to be on the roads in the next several years. We've all seen the different elements of car safety that have come along in our lifetime. And now this active involvement by the town of Scarborough to assist its residents and neighbors in safe travels is a very important step for us to take.
Thank you, Bill. I just would like to thank the Transportation Committee for their dedication and work to this, and for contacting the council and letting us know that they are proud to also endorse this work. With that, I will go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor? I'll show that is unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution 25-006 is act on the request to approve Resolution -25006 to oppose Maine LD 1093 regarding Scarborough Beach. I'm sponsoring this resolution this evening. This came to us, came to council attention rather, from a concerned resident. The resolution speaks to the reasoning and the background behind how we've kind of arrived at where we are at. And so I will let the resolution kind of explain the details. But in short, we are faced with a situation where Scarborough Beach is potentially going to be open to all pass holders of Scarborough State Park passes. And so without a lot of input from our committee, the town council, the resolution that I'm sponsoring is asking that the council support communicating with our legislation that we are not in favor currently of the proposed changes, and that we would like to oppose the amendment that's being proposed. And so with that, I will go ahead and read the resolution. Resolution 25-006, resolution to oppose Maine LD 1093 regarding Scarborough Beach. Whereas Scarborough Beach is an important natural resource within the town of Scarborough that has provided generations of Maine residents and visitors with safe recreational opportunities to enjoy the Maine coast. And whereas Scarborough Beach is located in an environmentally sensitive residential area within the town of Scarborough, near the end of a peninsula, served by a two-lane road with limited access and parking that necessitates careful management of vehicular traffic and parking in order to ensure public safety. And whereas the operation of Scarborough Beach, including parking and traffic, has been cooperatively managed for nearly 25 years through the cooperation of State of Maine, Black Point Resource Management, and the town of Scarborough. And whereas during the 132nd Maine legislature, a bill was introduced that in part would have required Scarborough Beach to remove any reference to state park in its name. This bill, LD 1093, an act to direct the Department of Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry, Bureau of Parks and Land to prevent the use of the term state park by non-state parks, was later amended on April 8th, 2025 by the Maine Legislature's Joint Standing Committee on Agriculture, Conservation and Forestry in a manner that would require Scarborough Beach to allow any of the nearly 40,000 holders of Maine State Park annual passes to access Scarborough Beach without an additional fee. And whereas the effect of the committee amendment to LD 1093 could have devastating effects with regard to Scarborough Beach, the adjacent residential neighborhoods, the town of Scarborough, and the state of Maine, that is likely to undermine the revenues needed to support future operations of Scarborough Beach and overwhelm the beach and the adjacent neighborhoods with more vehicular traffic than can be handled in this sensitive, congested area. And whereas despite the obvious relationship between the committee amendment and the operations of Scarborough Beach, no advance notice was provided to the town of Scarborough, Black Point Resource Management, or the neighbors of Scarborough Beach that such an amendment was being considered by the legislature. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Scarborough expresses its strong opposition to the April 8th, 2025 committee amendment to LD 1093 that requires Scarborough Beach to accept state park passes. And the town further urges the Maine legislature to either amend the bill to remove this requirement or vote the entire bill ought not to pass. Signed and sealed this 21st day of May, 2025, on behalf of the Scarborough Town Council and Town Manager of Scarborough, Maine. At this point, I realize I did not take public comment on the previous resolutions, and I typically do, so I apologize. If you would like to have made public comment, we can go back. But for right now, I will open this item up for public comment, if there's anyone wishing to make public comment.
Thank you, Chair Scyther and members of the Scarborough Town Council. My name is Jack Lufkin, and together with Greg Wilfort, we run Black Point Resource Management. I will not go through, that was a very lengthy discussion, and you've received communication from us, but just summarize the main points. One, you're potentially congesting an area that already is congested by opening it up to 40,000 folks. We run a great operation. Greg runs a great operation, 13 lifeguards, including some Newfoundland dogs, if you've been down there. Only ones in the state, I think, that are trained for life safety. I don't know what the future looks like if the state of Maine were to take this over. The other point I want to make is right now, the state of Maine receives revenue from the operation of the park. So to just simply make a blanket statement, we should take state park passes without any funding whatsoever being directed is well, frankly, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So if the state were to take it over, just very simply, they would take a revenue source and turn it into a cost for the state, upwards of $1 million a year. And then the final thing, and I think this is the one that's probably the most egregious, nobody was given advance notice of this bill. You are stakeholders, being the town. There's traffic concerns. There's police that would have to be on patrol down there. We were not told at all. We were actually informed after the meeting, and certainly no residents of that particular area. So for those reasons, I think just sending a strong message: oppose this bill, table it until next year, get stakeholders together, have conversations, anything but just sort of, go through this flawed process. So with that, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hi, welcome.
Hi there, thank you. I'm Elizabeth Von Stadi. I live at 7 Ferry Road, just maybe a half mile down from Scarborough Beach. And I drive past the beach every day. And I can just say this bill will be bad for Scarborough. So I'm here to speak in support of your proposal and in support of Scarborough Beach State Park Management and the great job they've done for the last 25 years running the beach. I first became aware of the bill a couple weeks ago. And as I understand, it was initially written with the intention of increasing transparency about the beach's admission policy and removing state park from the name, which personally I would 100% support. Obviously, if the bill were passed, it would be bad for every Scarborough resident who wants to go to the beach. And living nearby, I can just attest to how overwhelmed the parking lot gets on nice beach days now. I can't imagine seeing more people coming to the beach there. Parking's limited, cars line up on the side of the road waiting to get in. I mean, 20, 30, 50 cars is not unusual. And I can't imagine seeing more. And you've got walkers, bikers, trying to navigate the stretch of road, as well as the people who live there who need to drive past the beach to get in and out. So I just want to say thank you for opposing the bill, and thank you guys for doing a great job doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to make public comment on this item? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any council discussion? Yes, Counselor Anderson.
Yeah, I support this. I appreciate that. I think the legislature's intent, which is a noble one, is to, make our beaches accessible to everyone, especially those that are under the state. But this is a really unique situation with the private-public partnership. And I think both public speakers and the resolution itself kind of state the big concerns around safety and traffic, which again, I think is my biggest concern. We have residents who live here that we need to make sure an ambulance can get there. And if there's a bunch of cars, even more than we have today, getting in that way that could get into someone's house and save their life, like I just worry that the practicality of this wasn't really considered given the road. And so I'm in support of this resolution, and I do hope that our state legislatures, who I did contact on this saying that I don't support it personally, actually help us and actually working with their partners to do what this resolution is asking for them to do.
Thank you. Counselor Donovan?
Yeah, I support the resolution.
Remind-
I see Scarborough,
You're good.
I see Scarborough State Park situation and the parking all the time. Because I travel down there to Prouts Neck all the time from where I live, which is away from Prouts Neck. And it is an exceedingly difficult traffic situation as it presently exists. Dangerous for the cars, dangerous for the people. This is not a good idea. We are not, by our opposition to this, saying that people cannot access the beach. There are this beach, lovely beach, and others, and people are able to access. What it does is it avoids overwhelming the area, which now is, as everyone knows, June, July, August, September, is stressed to the hilt. Thank you.
Thank you. Counselor Doherty?
Yeah, initially, I probably wouldn't have voted for the town to do this because I am for access to the shore. I think everybody should have access to the shore, and I want to open it up more. I think somebody from Aroostook County should be able to come down to the ocean if they want to, or anywhere in the state. But listening to the people here and the guys from the park that run it now, they run it very efficiently, and hearing their points of view and stuff, that goes to show you coming to the meetings and speaking up can make a difference. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. For me, this is a matter of timing. I mean, in addition to our very legitimate concerns, this is a council that prides ourselves on public process and making sure that we gather a lot of stakeholder input. And while I don't think that this was necessarily done to evade public input, I do think that there was a missed opportunity in that regard. And so that's the primary reason for my opposition at this time, and why I will be supporting the resolution. With that, I will go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor? I show that as unanimous. Thank you. Order number 25-48 is 6 PM public hearing and second reading on the proposed amendment to Chapter 405C, the Shoreland Zoning Ordinance, to expand the Stream Protection Overlay District and amend the Shoreland zoning map to reflect the associated changes. Welcome, Autumn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is an item that you all considered at first reading on May 7th, and it did go to Planning Board for a public hearing on April 22nd. This is really taking into account our requirement to meet our federal stormwater permit requirements. We must establish a stream protection overlay district for Phillips Brook. And that is included, and we've also requested to extend the stream protection overlay district to cover the full length of Red Brook. And that's shown in your attachment. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the town engineer is as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. At this time, I will go ahead and open this item for public comment. If there's anyone wishing to make public comment on this item. Seeing none, I will close public comment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Council discussion. Councilor Doherty, you're all set? Okay, I want to thank the planning department and specifically Autumn for teeing this up for us both times. I think at this point, if there aren't any questions on the council side, I will go ahead and call the vote. All right, all those in favor? I show that as unanimous. Thank you. Order number 25-051 is a 6 PM public hearing and action on the new request for a food handler's license, a liquor license, and a special amusement permit from G. Robert Todd Jr. doing business as Allagash Brewing, located at 10 Market Street, Unit 25. Kristen.
Thank you. So this is a new business to Scarborough. It is in compliance with all ordinances and departments that require sign off have approved it. The applicant is here to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment on this item? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any council discussion? No. I will call the vote. All those in favor? Show that as unanimous. Thank you. Order number 25-052 is a 6 PM public hearing and action on the new request for 2 food handlers licenses from Maisie Perkins doing business as the Red Boot Farm Stand and the Red Boot Creamery located at 3 Spurwink Road. Kristen.
This is a location that has had licenses in the past. However, when there's new owners and change of business names, it does require new licensure. This is a location that is in compliance with all ordinances and appropriate departments have approved. The applicant is also here for questions.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone here wishing to make public comment on this item? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Any council discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor? I show that as unanimous. Thank you. Order number 25-053 is a 6 PM public hearing and action on the new request for a mobile food vendor license. Aaron Milberg doing business as Cheese the Day. Katie Dargy doing business as Mouse Munchies, LLC. Daniel Perial doing business as Millside Creations LLC. Daniel Perial doing business as Millside Creations LLC Food Cart. Jordan Rubin doing business as Mr. Tuna. Dimitris Mijos doing business as Carco Pizza. Melanie Smith doing business as The Treat Truck. Juan Sanchez doing business as El Rodeo. And Nicholas Wright doing business as Charwigs Snow and Dough Adventure Company. Kristen.
This is a new license type for the town. You guys passed the ordinance back in January. Licenses are required for personal events, town events, and that's what these are for. Most of them will be participating in the concert in the parks as well as Summerfest. This has been cleared by all the appropriate departments and has passed all inspections as well. Some of them are here if you have any questions.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment on these items? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any council discussion? Yes, John?
You don't even have to look. You just.
I knew. We've been at this a long time, my friend.
I wasn't gonna say anything with the ice cream, but now I'm getting hungry, so I would encourage people when they come next time to bring samples so that we can show everybody all the great things that are happening in Scarborough. So welcome, looking forward to it.
Yes, I will add, I think that this is going to be a very welcome addition. I think this will make a lot of residents really happy. I can't wait to try Charwig's Snow and Dough Adventure. I'm not sure what that means, but I'm here for
excited
it.
I was prepared to make the same remarks about Red Boot Farm Stand and Red Boot Creamery, which I have frequented for years, my neighborhood. So all in favor of it.
Any other council discussion? Okay, I will go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor? I'll show that as unanimous. Thank you. Good luck, guys. Order number 25-054 is a 6 PM public hearing and action on the renewal request for a special amusement permit from the landing at Pine Point located at 353 Pine Point Road. Kristen.
This is an annual process that comes to you guys for renewals for special amusement permits. This one is requesting an exemption from the Good Neighbor Ordinance due to their times going until 12 PM each night. So that's why this one's brought to you separately.
Excellent, thank you. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment on this item? Seeing none, I will close public comment. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Council discussion? Yes, Councilor Doherty, thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a couple of these tonight, and I've had a few phone calls on it. People that called me didn't want it. They were
This one
neighbors.
specifically is the landing, just to be clear. We're taking up the other ones next.
Yeah. Okay.
But so for the purposes of this discussion, we need to stick to
And
just the
is
landing.
right there at the clam bake.
Yes, it's
Yeah,
across the street.
Yeah, yeah, and there's not too many residents near there. And the normal time for cutoff is 10 o'clock.
It depends. So Monday through Thursday, it's 9 PM, and then Friday and Saturday, it's 10 PM.
Okay. And they're gonna be doing this event till midnight every single night in the week?
Their request is to have the option to offer music until midnight. That does not necessarily mean that that is what they're going to be doing every single night. Their application just indicates that they would like the option to do so.
Me personally, it wouldn't bother me. I go to sleep anyway. They have big events down at the neck, weddings, and you hear them hooting and hollering and having a great time. I say, good for them. But I can see if, I don't know what the circumstances are. And the people that called me, they said that they have these big amplifiers that are aimed right at their house. And, it's like, and it goes until midnight and they were quite upset with it. So, but I think at the landing, like you said, I think this one might be all right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Other council discussion? Councilor Anderson?
Yeah, I mean, I think I remember when we debated this one last year, because this is a special venue used for weddings and things, I'm gonna trust the applicant and what they sent us in the memo that most events would be over by 10 PM. And this is really just to give them the flexibility to go to midnight if they had to. And again, I would encourage residents who live by there, if things become an issue or it's happening a lot more than they're anticipating, to let the council know and who would they contact on if there's a concern? Is it the public safety?
Yeah, they should call dispatch, just so we can appreciate it in the moment.
Yeah.
And whether there's a violation. I will say, I believe they have been working under these same parameters last year, based on the license you granted. There were no registered complaints, if that's helpful to you.
Great.
It is, thank you. For me, the special amusement issuance of permits every year is an annual tradition for the council, and these come before us. This is the only one that's asking for an exemption from the Good Neighbor Ordinance. That does not mean that the volume of the sound is waived. It means that the hours are waived. And so I just want to be clear for the residents who may be impacted by this. This does not mean that they can play booming music that you can hear from a mile and a half away. It means that they are allowed to play amplified music until later into the evening. And so I agree, based on their past behavior, that we have not had any complaints, and I trust that they are in the business of being good neighbors as well. And so for that reason, I will also support this evening. Any other council discussion? Yes, Councilor Doherty.
I had just one question.
Yes, sir.
On that, brings to mind, is this an annual thing, so they have to come back each year? So if they don't behave well,
Yes, sir.
then the next year we might say no.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Councilor
Yeah,
Donovan.
reiterating Scott's point, we will all remember.
Mhm.
It's important to be a good neighbor,
Mhm.
and be not only in compliance, but be thoughtful. And they are back before us again next year.
And we also have the authority that if we do move this forward and there happens to be issues, we can also revoke it in the same season. So again, approval tonight doesn't mean that
That's right.
if they become, for anybody who applies tonight, if they don't follow our rules, or if they become a significant, burden to the local community, that we could ask for that license to come back before the council and be revoked.
Yep, all good points. With that, I will go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor? Not right this second. Just give me 1 second here. All those in favor? I show that as unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to order number 25-005 is a 6 p.m. public hearing and action on the renewal request for a special amusement permit from the following businesses. American Legion Libby Mitchell Post 76, located at 40 Mason Libby Road. Bailey's Campground, located at 275 Pine Point Road. Beach Ridge Barn LLC, located at 21 Beach Ridge Road. Black Point Inn, located at 510 Black Point Road. Clambake, located at 354 Pine Point Road. Cowbell, located at 185 US Route 1. Flaherty's Family Farm, Inc., located at 123 Payne Road. Higgins Beach Inn, located at 34 Ocean Avenue. Loyal Order of the Moose, located at 19 Spring Street. Pat's Pizza, located at 209 US Route 1. Salty Bay Seafood Bar and Grill, located at 68 Jones Creek Drive. Sea Dog Brew Pub, located at 1 Cabela Drive. The Greenhouse at Highland Farm, located at 109 Highland Avenue. And Throttle Car Club, located at 10 Dynamic Drive. Is there anyone wishing to make public comment on this item? And you may comment on any of the businesses that are listed in this order. Absolutely. You are a member of our public. Welcome. Please state your name and address for the public record.
Hi, my name is Cindy Ingersoll. I'm speaking on behalf of my husband, DJ, actually on behalf of Salty Bay Seafood Bar and Grill. We are here tonight because we were notified on Thursday evening. We had, I'm so nervous. I feel like I'm a movie star or something. We were notified on Thursday evening by one of our Pine Point Association board members that there seemed to be sort of a cabustle regarding the amusement permit that DJ and I had filled out. And I was hoping just to dispel any fake news out there. We have been for years placing cornhole boards and at times hosting cornhole tournaments. They never really fruitioned into anything as far as the tournaments per se, but our patrons do enjoy tossing bean bags to the board. So we put out 3 sets. The other thing was an opportunity to have live music. Unfortunately, when we brought up our permit, we talked to the gals about what we needed to do. Did we need a permit for cornhole, a permit for live music? Is it just one? We were under the impression we needed to fill out one permit, which checks off 7 days a week, open 12. I think my husband had placed 9 p.m. just to sort of cover if there were any stragglers leaving the parking lot. We were covered until 9 p.m. And then live music from 3 to 7 p.m. on, I have the dates in case you didn't get the amendment. There would be 1 Tuesday and 2 Wednesdays from 3 p.m. until 7 p.m. It was never our intention to have live music from 12 to 9 p.m. 7 days a week at Salty Bay Seafood Bar and Grill. I couldn't handle it. It wouldn't work for us. We're a small business. We can't host functions like Don Campbell and his band, which the Clam Bake is able to do. We simply have a single solo artist that is local in the community with his guitar. For me, it's a lot of work, a lot of responsibility to have a guest come to our property. I worry about the neighbors. I worry about a number of things, the patrons, the neighbors, the kids. 3 evenings from 3 to 7 is plenty for me, but yet we do place cornhole boards out 7 days a week for all patrons to enjoy. So I was just hoping, that you all understood. I understand there was a big cabustle within the community, and I'm truly thankful for the couple that of patrons who came to us to say, hey, listen, I think that there's an issue. That was never our intention. Yay.
Thank you very
Here.
much.
If you don't have copies of the new permits,
We were supplied copies of the new permits as amendments. And so when we switch over to council discussion, those will definitely come up.
yeah, and I'm certainly here to answer any questions.
Certainly. Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to make public comment on these items?
Thank you. Sheila Maselli, 4 Avenue 3. I'm a budding neighbor. And yeah, I guess when I got the notice, it did say 7 days a week, which I was very concerned about. The other part of the notice is it's amplified music, so I'm not sure if it's going to be amplified or not, because the houses down in Pine Point are very close together. And music travels. I mean, my neighbors, I can hear them in their backyard. And I think from 3 to 7 for amplified music, that's asking a lot for the neighborhood to, I want to let businesses, prosper and do what they need to do, but I'm just concerned about the amplified music. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to make public comment this evening? Certainly. Welcome.
Yes, hi, my name is Rita Duty and I own property at 74 Jones's Creek Drive. I'm not sure why we're revisiting this again when 2 years ago they asked for the same thing and it was denied. With the music 2 or 3 days a week and the cornhole and all of that. And besides that, there's more homes around their business right now. There's 2 more homes around there. And this is a neighborhood. It's not the Clam Bake, it's not the Landing. There's homes all around this business. And I don't think, and we paid taxes on this prop. I think part of their property where the tables and the cornhole is not their property. The state owns it. That part that goes out where they have their tables and the cornhole. They don't own that and they're not paying taxes. So, and we are. And also there's trash around too. And it comes in our backyard and we have to pick up in our front yard. And we've also seen people walking around with drinks in their hands from Salty Bay, going down to the beach or going down to the other bar There's about 5 bars down there, and I'm not sure how that all happened either. And they all want music and they all want everything else, but it's a neighborhood and I'm opposed to it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wishing to make public comment this evening? Certainly. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marie and I live at 74 Jones Creek Drive. There's a lot of traffic down there in the summertime because everybody's coming to the beach, Pine Point Beach, and they come down Jones Creek Drive. And then we have the Bait Shed and Salty Bay bars, restaurants and bars, and there's a lot of traffic down there. They're going back and forth. I'm just afraid that with this music, that there's going to be more traffic down there. And you talk about your Vision Zero. I think there's something should be done about the traffic down at Jones Creek Drive. There's a lot of pedestrians down there with kids in wheelchairs. And I've noticed when I sit on my porch that they either come from the Bait Shed to Salty Bay, or they're going from Salty Bay to the Bait Shed. And they're zooming because it's a straightaway right there past my house. And I've called the state police, the town police before on it, and they not really doing anything about it. They're not there to see it. I witness it all the time. So my concern is that if she has music down there, it's just going to cause more traffic. And they also have, down there, they have parking along the side of the street. So when you're down there, and these cars are parked here along the road because they're going from restaurant to bar, it's very hard to walk around those cars, especially if you have kids, with carriages and stuff like that. You peep around the car, and by the time you do that, there's a car coming at you. So I'm just concerned about the traffic. And we've already addressed this before and they got denied. So I'm afraid, and I hate to say this because I like to be a good neighbor, but I'm afraid to give this establishment an inch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hi, welcome.
Hi, I'm Tony Ionetti, 7th Avenue 4, Scarborough. I'm just wondering, the venue that's over there at Salty Bay, it's small, and you use amplified music. Is there any way, my question is there any way to, get an amplifier that's less, less,
I'm happy to answer you.
okay.
So last year, the gentleman who played music.
Oh, guys, gentlemen, sorry, public comment is intended for council. And so if you guys want to take your
Okay.
conversation out in the hall, you're welcome to do that. Just for the public record, we kind of need to,
Okay, that's
Hang on
a concern.
between
because
us.
Last year, even though it was a one person, venue, it really was amplified, throughout the neighborhood and beyond. So I'm just wondering if that can be addressed. If you're gonna have, amplified music, it should be, that's my comment.
certainly, thank you. You would like to make public comment? Perfect.
Good evening. My name is Sharon Jonkis. I live at 9 Avenue 2 in Pine Point, and I'm here. I've been a member of the Pine Point community, both my family has, for over 80 years. And while we do appreciate the Salty Bay, we have noticed over the years that the sound from the clam bake and from the Salty Bay really interferes in the quietness of our neighborhood. And I don't know within the town of Scarborough if there's a decimal reading for sound, but it gets to be a little bit crazy in the summer. I agree with the traffic concerns on Jones Creek. The traffic is crazy going down that back street, heading to the bait shed or to the Salty Bay. I appreciate that they're trying to make money at their business, but when you live in the community and you have to listen to the music 7 days a week, and I understand they've amended the request for the permit for 3 days a week, which I appreciate. Pardon me?
It's your public comment. I shouldn't say anything.
No,
I think it was just 3 times,
It's three dates,
separate date.
3 dates.
Yep, just to
3 dates.
clarify.
There's
By all means, this
Yeah.
is your time, not mine.
So
I
it's-
apologize.
The way I understood it from Sumner, it was 3 dates that you would be having music there, which again, I appreciate, but I still feel as though it's a community. The houses are very close together and the sound travels. The Clambake has the Don Campbell Band comes, and when they come, you can hear everything from down in the creek down to where we live on Avenue 2. So I appreciate your time and thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other public comment this evening? See, nope. Seeing none, I'm going to go ahead and close public comment. At this time, we will turn it back over to the council. Do I have a motion as presented?
So moved.
Okay. And now, is there any appetite of the council to divide the question at all? Counselor Anderson?
I would like to motion that we divide the question to remove Salty Bay separate.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on John's proposal to divide the question? Okay, I will call the vote on dividing the question. All those in favor? Okay, so now we will take up the divided item first. So we will take up the application of Salty Bay. Council discussion? Anybody want to kick us off? Counselor
Yeah. no.
Donovan?
I think it would be helpful for the public to hear what impact the Good Neighbor ordinance has. And I thought maybe Tom could give us, for everyone present, a little bit of a explanation of how neighborhoods don't have to suffer through inordinate noise.
I think that's an excellent point, Bill, and I welcome the opportunity to put the town manager on the spot. So
Yeah,
off you go, Tom.
That you are. Yes, we do have a good neighbor ordinance, as the name suggests. It is intended to address these sorts of matters, not just noise. There's other nuisances that can be concerning with light and such. Though we don't have a strict decibel level that for a number of reasons, just in terms of the proper equipment and training and all sorts of environmental conditions. We do have standards that we believe are enforceable. I would encourage anyone that is experiencing something that they deem a nuisance to certainly contact your police department. Our folks are trained and understand the rules of these ordinances, and it's best to do it in the moment so they can appreciate and hear or smell or see the thing that you are experiencing. And so I have faith in the process. I think it's a fairly light touch, but I think it has been proven itself to be quite effective. So it's important to note that just because these licenses are being granted, they are still need to abide by all the regulations here. So that's sufficient?
Yeah, that's the neighborhood has an ability to not be subject to inordinate noise. And the gentleman, the town manager has pointed out, the police department is ready to respond to these situations and do an assessment. And no neighborhood should be subject to that. That's why we have a good neighbor ordinance. So I think we may approve this, but we all recognize neighborhoods need to be protected. It's not fair to allow inordinate noise or other adverse impacts.
Thank you, Bill. John, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thankful for everybody who came tonight. What's surprising to me is the data that we have that was provided to us in terms of police calls was just one since 2023. So again, I think it's important if people are really concerned about the noise or any disruptions, that they need to call the police department, so that way we can track that, because that's our proof points of like, are they violating the law? And so I'm surprised that that number's low based on the emails that we got in from residents, because you know, it seems like it's definitely a nuisance, but they haven't actually called in. One question I do have though, and our special amusement ordinance is very clear, is that if they were ever denied an ordinance or denied a permit, that they need to provide the specific circumstances. And I don't feel like in the application, they were clear as to why they were denied, and do they understand why they were denied, and that they're not going to do it again. So I don't know if staff has that history that can tell us why they were denied and what remediation maybe happened, because I feel like that's an important piece in our ordinance.
Honestly, I don't recall that they were denied, but this has certainly been an issue of discussion year in and year out, but working off the top of my head, I don't recall an outright denial.
They provided in their application that they were denied, but they didn't say anything about why they were denied.
Yeah, forgive me, we're not.
Can you
prepared.
read into the record the reference
For the ordinance?
for the acknowledgement of a denial?
Yes, let me pull up the. If I can find it.
I found it. It
Thank you,
looks
Kristen.
like on July 21st, 2021, the town council voted to unanimously deny the renewal request for special amusement permit. The reason for the denial were due to concerns raised by neighbors of loud music, public safety, and traffic. The council encourages a meeting with the neighbors to see if a consensus could be reached.
And did that ever happen? Was there ever a meeting with the neighbors and the business owner to reach consensus? Don't know.
There certainly have been subsequent licenses issued
Mhm.
in years since then.
Were you a member of the council
I
at the
might
time,
have been
Counselor Anderson?
I can't remember.
I know, I'm
It was
I'm
my
teasing
first
because I
video,
do
it was
remember,
my
because
first video.
it is hard to remember back,
Yeah.
especially on something that's an annual process. So I think with this one, I very much appreciate, Counselor Donovan, your, making it very public that these licenses and these permit applications are subject to the Good Neighbor Ordinance. The Good Neighbor Ordinance is available on our website if anyone would like to take a read through and make sure that you understand what your rights are as neighbors, neighbors to each other. And so at this point, John, if you do not feel like your questions are satisfied, we could certainly consider tabling this item. The other thing that I would ask is that if we are going to continue this for further discussion, that we would have a formal motion to accept the amended applications that were submitted. And so at this point, I kind of need to know council direction wise, whether you would like to continue this discussion at a later time, or if you would like to continue it now with the amended language, the amended contract applications.
I'm fine continuing the conversation. I just was
I am
curious.
too.
Okay, thank
But
you.
and Tom's point is good that they subsequently were approved, and again, we've only had one actual call to the police related to issues, so I think that's the data we have in front of us.
Okay. Would you like to offer an amendment to accept the applications that were submitted this week?
Can you clarify what the amendment is?
Sure.
Because I don't know if we got this.
Sure. So this week, the council was provided a amended application on May 19th, which requests amplified music from 3 to 7 p.m. on 7/15/25, 8/6/25, and 8/13/25. The application also calls out the use of this process for cornhole, which I did ask the town manager when I spoke to him earlier if cornhole was something that required a special amusement application, and he said yes. And so they do have a separate request for cornhole, which is listed as 12 to 8 p.m. Monday through Sunday.
So I would like to motion to amend the application to accept the amendments that the chair just referenced.
Second.
Okay, discussion on the amendment or now on the amended language? Yeah, Scott.
Yeah, it seems like it's just a few days in the summer. The people that called me was like, it was every night. I don't think it was Salty Bay.
Well, let's stick to Salty Bay. We're gonna come back to the other ones.
But it's connected. I'm just saying, the amplified, the resident said, and had a good point, you know. He says, not so amplified, you know, and the person that complained to me said if they could just turn the speakers away from our houses and have it set up so the venue is going across their large tract of land, you know, the music is aimed at their large tract of land instead of at the homeowners, you know, set it up different. I think, again, that's being a good neighbor. And you know, they were adamant about me not voting for this and allowing them to do it because there's an ordinance against it. And their point is why are we, you know, letting special people have special privileges when everybody else has to stay in line? And I gotta agree with them there, but I can see with Salty Bay, you know, cornhole from until 8 o'clock at night, people might be cheering, you know, their friends on or something. They're just having a good time. I can't see that that would be an issue. You know, but amplified music could be. So again, you know, if they could, I know Salty Bay, they can put the amplified music towards the water. And then it would, you know, the backside of it wouldn't be as bad. I don't know exactly what the situation is, but maybe they can work with the neighbors to be a good neighbor. But again, like I said, we got to establish what the behavior is. And a new council 2 years from now is going to say, what was this about? So
It's entirely possible.
thank you.
Thank you. So I think that the amended application is something that I think I would be willing to accept, given that it is 3 very specific timeframes from 3 to 7 p.m. I will remind everybody once again that this is subject to the Good Neighbor Ordinance, and if you feel that the music is at a volume that is disturbing the peace, by all means, please contact our public safety professionals who will be responsive to your concerns. The only other thing I wanted to say on this before I call the vote, unless other people have comments, is I did want to make the public aware that we do have a new mechanism for addressing traffic safety concerns. And so if members of the Pine Point community would like access to or how to access our traffic calming procedures so that we could potentially do a speed study and have public safety put some focus on the streets that you're concerned about. There is a public process available for accessing that resource now, and I'm happy to point you in the direction of accessing that. Any other public council comments?
On the amendment.
Just, this is on the amendment. Yes, thank you. Shoot, I was out of order. Okay. All those in favor of the amendment? Show that as unanimous. Returning to the main motion as amended, is there anything else on the Salty Bay application? Yes, Councilor Anderson.
Yeah, I want to say for me personally, I was borderline supporting this tonight. We got a lot of emails from a lot of neighbors who are concerned about the operations of your business. And so I hope next year you can work with them, and instead of getting, 10, 15 emails saying why they are concerned, I would love to see 10, 15 emails saying they're really happy with how things have worked out based on some of the things Scott said, or that one of the gentlemen asked about, looking at how you amplify the music better. We do get a lot of support for these special amusement permits. Some places did. And again, yours did not. And so I would just encourage you, if you are a good neighbor, which I want to believe you are, that you work with the people in this room, get their contact information, and figure out how you can work together to make sure that everybody can live there happily, your business can prosper, and they can have the peace and quiet that they deserve.
Well said.
Well said.
With that, I will go ahead and call the vote. All those in favor? I'll show that as unanimous. Thank you. Returning to the main motion before we divided the question, which is the rest of the remaining businesses on our agenda this evening. Is there council discussion on the remaining businesses or a desire to divide the question any further? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor? I'll show that as unanimous. Thank you. Moving through the remainder of our agenda, old business, we have no old business at this time. New business, we have no new business at this time. Item 10 is non-action items. There are none. Item 11 is council member comments. Anyone want to comment on anything? Counselor Anderson?
Oh, guys, this is my last council meeting in my 30s. It's really aged me. My hair is grayer. When I first started, I just imagine it's gonna get grayer, but this has been, such a great experience and journey, and I appreciate all the residents who came out tonight to speak up on their behalf. I love it when we see people come to the meetings. That doesn't happen as often as I would like. And so if there are things we can do to better engage the public, to help bring more awareness, I'm happy to talk to people and figure out how we get more engagement, because we can only make the decisions we make based on the great work that our staff does to inform us, but also based on, your opinions, your perspectives, which matter just as much to me. So hopefully the next year we'll see more engagement. And it's not just when there's issues, but also when there's things that you're supportive of, because that matters as well. Like, what are the things that are important to you that you like? Because we want to hear that as well.
Thank you, John. Prior to taking some public comment this evening, I turned to the town manager and said, I love local government. I do. I love, John, you're absolutely right. When we have people in chambers and we have energy in chambers and we have people willing to make public comment, this is local, like this is how local government functions. And we don't always agree. And we certainly hear perspectives that we would not hear otherwise. And so I am grateful for everyone who takes the time to come out and be a part of our public meetings. Councilor Doherty.
Yeah, I just would like to reiterate on that, because the people are still here. They stuck it out. We did say, if there's a problem, that we can bring this back.
Yep.
And revoke it if there's a problem. So see how it goes, see if they work with you. And if not, bring it back, and maybe get an audio on a phone or something of what it is at night, if it is really bad from your house, something like that. But I think it's a few days, I'm trying to work with everybody, keep everybody happy, but. Oh, we don't? Do we get
I'm
a
happy to
copy?
provide, I'm
Yeah.
happy to provide that.
Great,
I have some copies if someone wants them.
yeah.
Any other council? Thank you. Any other council comments? Seeing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor? Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.